The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Insert Democrat socialist here.
Runs the Democratic House floor for 30 plus years running. He's promising this and he's stealing that. Where can you get that kind of money? He's using your house like his own piggy bank. You ought to know by now. You can pay off your house here in Illinois, but you can never keep up with the taxes. Oh, how it's always been the plan to have a taxpayer pay, no doubt. Not a matter of if anymore, but when. You're moving out. I said, when you're moving out.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. All right, so I've got more on this remake of Lucas that we're working on with your help, you and the listening audience. The working title is Carajita, and it's about a Venezuelan migrant that moves to Glen Ellen, gets set up thanks to Pritzker subsidizing the resettlement and Glen Ellen being a welcoming community. But it is Victor Victoria meets Benjamin Button meets Lucas, and now I've got another wrinkle. Meets like Chucky. Like Child's
now we're gonna
Play.
make it a horror film?
Well, not quite.
I don't know about that.
There's an aspect to it. But we're doing this in reverse order because we should go from old to young, but we're going from young to old. It's just easier to conceptualize for me, at least.
But
again, the plot is then he's there. Then he plays soccer at Glenbard West, and he gets a college scholarship to U of I.
Mm-hmm. And then realizes
that he's a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Wants to be a woman. Then he goes to Champaign where he has a butt baby.
Yep.
And this is where I'm going to include this new wrinkle. So then the butt baby comes to life.
Oh boy!
I don't know how yet, but the butt baby comes to life.
His name is Chucky.
Well, it doesn't have to be Chucky, no, because the butt baby comes to life. This is a complicated plot. You're going to have to follow it. This is going to be like Inception. The butt baby comes to life, and then he becomes the Charlie Sheen character in the original Lucas, like the jock bully guy.
Oh, I see
then,
how you come in full circle. Yeah.
But then since Lucas Carajita, since he is declining in age, while his butt baby is advancing in age, they meet at school and become rivals. So there's a little bit of a Back to the Future thing too. You see, boy, there's a lot here.
Whew.
We're gonna have to distill this. So they become rivals, and then there's like a little musical component to it, and that's the Victor Victoria piece. It's a little like West Side Story, but it's the butt baby coming back to be the high school rival of his father. Because
birthing parent Dan.
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. So that right. So does that? Yeah. I mean, some things have to get ironed out there. Okay.
Okay, but we got a great text message that if we just went with the one theme that if you're doing a Benjamin Button type movie, when he gets all the way past childhood to the womb, why don't you show him getting aborted? That fits in with all the other ideas.
then the movie can end. Then it was like the whole thing.
That's how you
was,
end the movie.
The whole thing was a dream sequence because it never happened.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's a very interesting ending to the movie.
All right, I'm going to have to take some time off to put all these pieces together, I think. But in the meantime, I mean, maybe, I don't know. Ted is more of a, right brain guy. He's not the creative type like me. He's a data guy. He's a finance guy. But maybe he's got an idea here. Yeah, he's an engineer, right? The engineering mind. He's not an artist like I am. Ted Dabrowski is the president of Wirepoints, wirepoints.org, all things Illinois policy related. Ted, thanks for joining us, as always. Appreciate it.
Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Amy. Just to clarify one thing, I'm not an engineer. I went to Georgia Tech. I didn't finish engineering, but I tried.
Well, it's the mind, though.
So communications.
Yeah. No, right. So, but I mean, I don't. Maybe you've got a little bit of a left brain in you. I mean, did you have anything you wanted to add to this screenplay we're working up?
Yeah, I think I'll let you guys dominate.
Okay, all right.
I'm pretty weak on it. Yeah.
All
Good
right.
choice.
What about on the underlying policy? I'm a bit confused. We were talking about it earlier. On the one hand, Governor Pritzker is saying that. Chicago is where they think they're going. That's where the services they need are. So there's no reason to have shelters or resettlement in the suburbs. On the other hand, he's dispatching state representatives like Tara Costa Howard to Glen Ellen to say, hey, look, village officials, the governor's got $11 million of somebody else's money that I can give you if you want to resettle migrants. So which is it?
Yeah, I think what he wants seen in public is that he's trying to keep people out of the suburbs and in Chicago, but what he's really working on is trying to find places for these people to go. And of course, at the same time, Brandon's saying, "Hey, Pritzker can build these tent sites wherever he wants in the state." So Johnson's pushing them out of Chicago. So it's a welcoming city.
Well, and the other thing too, by the way, going on. I mean, since this is going on in a lot of big cities around the country, in metropolitan areas. In Boston, the combination of the leftist governor there and the leftist mayor, who hails from Barrington, in Boston, they're doing a first-in-the-nation pilot program for long-term resettlement of migrants in and around Boston. So that's actually happening somewhere. So the idea that this is all just worst case scenario and the typical sort of fear porn from the right about this constant flow of migrants. It's not. You see other politicians similarly disposed in other big cities doing exactly what we're describing.
Yeah, everybody's trying to figure it out, right? And a lot of that has to be with the money, and that's something we're working on right now. Hopefully we'll get something out tomorrow. It's, who's going to spend all this money? Who's got the money? Who's going to be on the hook for taking care of migrants over ordinary residents? And that's, I think, a big part of it. Johnson would love to not spend another penny so he stops getting yelled at. But it's interesting. We're finally starting to tabulate all these costs, and we've been trying to get the numbers. It's really hard, as you can imagine, from the government. But I think we're looking at over $2 billion, or right around $2 billion since like 2021 of money being spent, not just on the asylees, like the 35,000 or the quota asylees, but also on all the Medicaid for a lot of the migrants who've been coming in the last 3 years. And so when you start adding it all up, you're talking about nearly $2 billion. And that's kind of the conservative estimate, because there's all kinds of other money being spent on
Right.
education and stuff like that.
Well, and also on food. I mean, Steve Cortez tweeted yesterday, if you're stressed about your grocery bills, which many of us are, consider Chicago just awarded contracts to 2 firms for over $100 million of taxpayer money. So Buena Beef has got a $45 million contract, and then Hyde Park-based 14 Parish received $57 million. I mean, eventually we're going to run out of money. I mean, I don't know where we're getting all of this from.
Well, we won't run out of it. We'll just keep spending it, and we'll raise taxes later. But no, I mean, I think I mentioned this last week, but if you open up this money that they're handing out, and you start to see the number of grants that are going everywhere, it's the funny money that goes around and buys votes and stuff like that. Of course, some of it makes it to the migrants for sure, but there's a lot of people enriching themselves. I'm looking at one grant of $17 million that goes to like 40 different organizations, and you think there's any accountability for that in Illinois? Heck no.
Justin Slaughter is a representative from Chicago. He was the lead sponsor of the Pritzker Purge Law, the so-called Safety Act. And, by the way, we're getting close, I think, to enough time being passed that we can take stock of the impact of the Safety Act. I don't have a complete handle on it, but I know this is something that you're looking at and I'm looking at too. I mean, one of the things we do know is that the appellate courts are being overwhelmed by the number of appeals for a pretrial release that are coming up from district courts. We know that. But something else
we know that.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. No, go ahead, Ted.
Yeah, so we're having a huge number of appeals. In other words, what's happening is that you're having some judges trying to detain people for the crimes they've committed, and guess what? You got the pressure coming from the system, which is undoubtedly what it is. Pressure saying, no, you can't hold these people. And of course, the courts are being overwhelmed with the number of appeals. There's about, 1,300 appeals just in the last 4 months, which is a big number, and it's overwhelming the courts. And so the Supreme Court's going to step in and look at it. But what it tells you is that judges are making a decision. And, of course, there should always be appeals, and right, it should always be.
Yes, it's appealable. Right, it's appealable. But the question then becomes, where is the data, like the series that CWB Chicago has been doing for the last several years, that indicates the people that were question marks in terms of pretrial release. They are charged with a felony and a violent felony. And then how many of those individuals who would have been held over pre-Safety Act but were not held over for trial went on to commit other crimes? How many victims could have been, how many victims could have been prevented if we were not operating under this no cash bail Pritzker purge law? That's the sort of data that we have to get to, right?
Yeah, and it's really hard. And, and you've got the opposite side of that is, how many people that would have, had bail put on them, been out, right? Been out, but substantial bail where they behave, and you got family forcing them to behave. Whoever bails that person out. So those people, if you have a weak judge, then the weak judge is saying, well, I'd like to hold him, but I can't now, and so out they go, and there's no bail, and the guy's out doing whatever he does, and we see this. We saw this the other day. A judge said that this crime that was committed, I would have put the person on bail, but I can't, and so I'm going to hold that person. Of course, then you get the appeal, and so you're going to get pressure from the system to unwind those decisions by judges. We'll see where it goes, but we'd love to have that data. We're going to have to work hard to figure out, and it's pretty messy data as well.
Well, here's the new Representative Slaughter legislation that I want to get to. And I'll tell you what, I got to tell you, as somebody who's gotten a lot of speeding tickets, I'm really of two minds on this one, but I'll get your view on it. No law enforcement officer shall stop a motor vehicle for failing to display registration plates or stickers, being operated with an expired registration sticker, violating general speed restrictions unless the violation is a misdemeanor or felony, improper lane usage unless it's a misdemeanor or felony, failing to comply with requirements concerning vehicle lamps, excessive tint, defective mirrors, an obstructed windshield, defective bumpers, excessive exhaust, or failure of the vehicle operator to wear a safety belt. No evidence discovered or obtained as a result of a stop in violation of these provisions shall be admissible in any trial, hearing, or other proceeding, preempts home rule powers. So you're eliminating traffic violations is the short version of it, but I wanted to give you all the examples included in the legislation. Eliminating traffic violations so you can eliminate traffic stops.
Yeah, well, just a story. I'm also worried about that law because a couple of months ago I was in Chicago, parked my car, and a CTA took my whole front of my car off, and they haven't given me the money to repair, so I'm driving around without a front end, so I might get stopped. But no, I think again that's one of those things where you may have a legitimate stop, a legitimate bad guy's there, you know who that person is, and yet you can't use the evidence, and I think. Of course, that just weakens law enforcement in Illinois. Granted, it helps probably on some cases where there might be some targeting, but nevertheless, you're doing one more thing. And if we just add up all the different things that weaken law enforcement and weaken policing, there's another one right there.
Targeting, yeah. I'd love to say I'd like to hear the case about targeting because I will put the number of speeding tickets I've gotten in the Chicagoland area up against just about anybody. And, of course, the reason I've gotten those tickets is because I was speeding. But that's not the point. The point is that, this is like the moving violation equivalent of the $1,000 retail theft threshold, that we're not prosecuting retail theft under $1,000. So you want? I mean, look, I drive fast, but I'm a good driver, and I don't want to be around people who are pacing, and these people don't know how to drive, and it's a mess. And the Dan Ryan is already, basically, Fury Road. But I mean, you. So I mean that just the general lawlessness, right? And it's the whole people who play by the rules versus everybody else. So you get hit with a couple $100 for your registration, and you got to do this and you got to do that, and you maintain your property for safety reasons, among other things, for other drivers. So if your car's in disrepair, just ask the Willis children, the Willis family, and what happened to the Willis children with a faulty faulty trailer assembly, right? I mean, so there's legitimate interest, even if the roads were private in the libertarian world, for a private operator or the government operator to require certain things about your use of the property, and have certain safety protocols in effect. Fine, I accept that. It's just this because there are some people who won't and don't, then you just eliminate all the provisions, whether they make sense or not. The making sense of it doesn't even matter. It's just these people who are my constituents and who don't play by the rules are being penalized for not playing by the rules. And so we're just going to eliminate the rules for everybody, but mainly for them.
Yeah, so a one-size-fits-all that weakens enforcement, and we're seeing that at the car chases, at the foot chases, limit stops. It goes on, and so unsurprisingly, we've got this situation where people are scared, right? And this is just one more thing to add to the mess.
Ted Dabrowski, President Wirepoints, wirepoints.org, all things Illinois policy related. Thanks as always, Ted. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, my name is Ryan Bourne.
And I'm Danica Bourne.
And we're the owners of South Coast Tax.
We started our company 10 years ago in an effort to help our fellow Christians experiencing tax issues resolve their matters by taking a simple 3-step approach.
South Coast Tax are Christian-based tax accountants and attorneys that specialize in releasing bank levies, wage garnishments, and filing complex tax returns. We are the leaders in acceptance of offers and compromise with awesome results. We're also a small firm who will treat you like family, not just a number.
Call us today at 1-800-TAX-1176 for a free consultation, and we'll take the time to explain all of the programs that you qualify for in order to allow you a fresh start.
Proverbs 15:22 says, "Plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisors, they succeed." Call us today at 1-800-TAX-1176, and together we can help achieve this goal by putting the IRS debt behind you for good. Again, that number is 1-800-TAX-1176.
On that